Search and rescue dogs are very important in people's lives. So, search and rescue dogs, there are many kinds of search and rescue dogs that all have different jobs and purposes. So there are tracking and trailing search and rescue dogs. These dogs find people who are trapped and buried in different kinds of situations. They may be buried in rubble, or it could be or debris, or for being in a collapsed building. It could be snow. They could be looking for people in deep water. So they are able to follow sense human odor for a really far distance. Tracking and trailing dogs are the most utilized search and rescue dogs, and they are trained to track and they're trained to trail and find people on different kinds of ground. So not only are they looking for people or items where it's very grassy, but it could be they're in a mountain range, or it could be walking on ice and snow. So different asphalt, sand areas, or maybe walking in wooded areas, different areas like that. And they are just a valuable asset in finding people who are maybe have Alzheimer's and have been wandering, and so then these dogs are able to pick up on their scent, and a lot of times they find people, which is amazing. And like in those cases, and or they could be finding missing children who have been missing. And so another kind of dog is disaster or urban search and rescue dogs. They are looking for live people in many different areas and situations again. But these dogs they know how, before they start searching for someone, they're obviously trained to look for people in collapsed buildings and other kinds of structures after natural disasters like tornadoes, and even they look for people in man-made disasters. So something that maybe it was an accident and our building really wasn't thought of how it was going to be built or something, and then an event happens, and then there are people who are missing or need to be found. And so these dogs can definitely help in areas like this too. So wilderness, avalanche, land and water search and rescue dogs. These dogs are all, like the titles are suggesting, they are all searching for people or objects in these kinds of areas. Wilderness dogs find people who are they're generally in areas where it's really hard for people to find, especially on their own, and it's they're also, the wilderness areas are harder for people alone too, who are just searching for things, to get through. So these wilderness search dogs are trained in agility, and also are trained in off-lead obedience for complete control. So a search rescuer can send these dogs in an area, and they will come back and let them know, or they'll just go ahead and see if anything's up ahead, and if there is, or if there is not, they will come back, and they've trained them to give them signals that the people are looking for, so they know whether or not to keep going in an area, or maybe try looking somewhere else. So these dogs work mainly off of air sense in the air. So when they're looking for missing people, this will occur very quickly, and it's actually really reliable when they can do it this way, because the dogs are already trained on the scent of that person. So dogs also, as we will see later on, they can also be used in land excuse me, and water search. So people who are in these kinds of areas, or even if you're in a very snowy area or where avalanches are, there are dogs trained to specifically work in these areas to find people. And human remains detection. These dogs are trained to find the remains of people. It could be people's whole bodies, but it also could be different parts such as just hair or bones, flesh. They can detect human odor in many kinds of situations, and also depending on how long someone has been deceased, the time frame really does not matter as much, because they're like as long as far as people like being able to, like, depending on how long someone was not how long like someone was dead, that part really doesn't matter, because these dogs are trained to pick up on different kinds of odors at different times too. So just looking at these pictures and listening to the music in the background, just these are examples of tracking and trailing search and rescue dogs. So they've been picking up a scent and searching for that scent and for whoever is the cause of that scent. So and this is showing the different kinds of trails. Again, there's grassy trails, there are wooded trails in the middle picture, and then there are more dirt. There's a mix of dirt and grass. So these search and rescue dogs are trained to go in many places. Disaster or urban search and rescue dogs, as mentioned before, they are looking for live humans, so they could be trapped underneath this wood or this concrete. It looks like a building had fallen down, but there are so many natural disasters that occur every year, and just the amount of help that these dogs can be really helps save lives. People definitely, anyone who is helping can find others too, but just with the dogs too, it just adds another extra support and assistance to them, and it all goes in for people's needs. So it's amazing how it happens. And then there are also, like, this picture on the right side with the German Shepherd and the firefighter. This was actually from 9/11, when they were going in and searching for people who still needed to be helped, or remains of people. There were obviously many responders to this, and that goes for any other situation. There are always a great deal of responders who are coming to see what people need help and to get them into a safer area. So this is another example of more natural disasters. I couldn't imagine being trapped in a situation like any of these, really. But people are in these circumstances many times, and sometimes it's only like once in their life, and maybe not at all. But there are always situations where people are trapped, and looking at just knowing that someone is there before you start taking pieces of the buildings like off for the pile. Like if a dog starts barking and it's giving you signals that someone's there, that is a great deal of help, instead of just thinking to yourself, I wonder if someone's in this and we need to get this off fast. But at the same time, just knowing someone is there, it can really help center efforts on like where to move from and to get those people out, and to help them get safer and in a better condition. So wilderness, avalanche, land, and water search and rescue dogs are being shown here. Not so much the water search and rescue dogs are coming later on, but these dogs are all trained for their various areas they're going in, and so they are all very prepared and just ready to. They know what it means to start when they need to look for someone. They are on it, and like this dog here is helping in the snow, digging someone out. That can help people who are trying to dig someone out. Whenever there's more than one kind of help, it just makes it all go much quicker, and so individually can mean a lot for rescuing someone as well. So there's another different kind of terrain with them going up a mountain. So it just gives you an idea of the kind of work that they're. And then the human remains detection dogs are trained to so they're trained to get into the water and to find people who are maybe they have drowned and there could have been a boating accident or anything like that, but they're trained to find people and in that water, and it would be hard for people can't pick up on scent, so that's an amazing part about dogs, that they can pick up on that scent even in the water, and so they can help the efforts that way. So there are many different rescue situations that dogs can be part of. So whether they are depending on what kind of terrain they're in, it really can. It just really affects everything, and the quicker that the quicker that someone's found, the quicker someone can be helped. And so there's an example on the top left of a natural disaster that had occurred, and right now there is someone who is on the left side, the bottom left is people, and they're in the snowy areas looking for someone. And then on the right side is a picture of Frida, who is a yellow lab, and she is a search and rescue dog. She works on the land, but she also works and searches for people in the water. As you can see, she has different kinds of shoes on. It helps her depending on which areas she goes, and she has goggles on her face because she does go in the water, and so she has found many people that way as well, which is really amazing. And so speaking of Frida, a little humor. So one of the cartoons that was shown included her being said, well, it was said about her that if she ran for being a president, or if she was in any kind of official election, she would have many people voting for her. Just one example, she saved 52 lives from national and international levels of natural disasters. And that's just one, there are many more, but that's just one example of the work that she's done and the way that she's impacted those lives as well. So, and speaking of impacting lives, like this one man, he was trapped in a building, and the dog helped him get out. And the middle picture here with the dog pulling someone through the water. This person was obviously in the water and needed help, and just the relief that you would get from seeing help come your way when you really need it is huge. And just knowing that someone is going to be coming for you and helping you, you will get through it. And same with the other person who is in the water with the dog jumping on the bottom right corner. That dog is going to help that person, and just what a relief that has to be. And as well as that top right picture, that's another thing you can just think about how meaningful it really is. And maybe we haven't been in a situation where we've really needed a huge amount of rescue for us, and maybe we've gotten through different situations, and that's great. But there are those who have not, and there are those who have been in really serious situations, and just looking at this top right picture, or any of these pictures for that matter, it really just knowing that the help is getting to you as soon as it can, it really makes a difference, and it really helps people through that as well, because they're in great need of help too. So for this semester project, my topic was how search and rescue dogs help find people safely in different situations, such as being lost, trapped somewhere in rubble, buried in the snow, etc., and many other ways they help in disaster response situations for helping people become in a safer position from unintentional situations too. So this topic is important to me because knowing there's another avenue or source of help for people in need is very important, and assuring to know that the help just besides that there's help just besides like a few people who maybe, or it could be a whole group of people, that there is help on the way, and such as working with first responders in emergency situations. It just helps people know that they will receive the best assistance possible when needed. So what I want all of you to take from this public service announcement is to realize how valuable search and rescue dogs are in rescuing, searching for, and helping people. So those who are doing the searching and those who are missing or who are trapped. And I'm not undermining anyone at all who comes in response to any disaster or safety-related circumstance, but I'm just making the point that we are only people and we can only do so much sometimes. And yes, they do a whole, I'm not making anyone sound less for saying this at all either. I just mean like that people make mistakes, and we can only do so much because we're only human. And so when the efforts that we are trying to do need a little extra assistance, like picking up a scent from someone, people can't pick up a very deep scent from anyone, or a light scent when a dog can. And so that can really make the difference between someone being rescued on time and like being able to live even because they've been rescued and now can get the medical attention or whatever kind of attention they need, versus not being found because no one could smell them and pick up on their scent. So it really affects people's lives in many ways, and it's just amazing how far what I'm trying to say is it's amazing how far the search and rescue efforts have come for helping people and with first responders and everyone involved with safety. And so because a lot of teamwork is involved. And so statistics about my topic can't be applied very well to property loss, but injury and death apply in a way to this because the data with the number of people on average per week actually who are rescued, and even the most common situations search and rescue dogs can take part in, is really high. It stated that there are 1,500 injuries per year from tornadoes, 60 injuries caused by hurricanes annually, and 17 deaths nationwide. So this ties in because with search and rescue dog situations that are needed and that taken part, they can be caused by these natural disasters that they are themselves helping people in. So like I said before, people could be going missing or being in a building that collapses. So in addition to that, there are many causes of fires, as we have even learned in this class, and 91% of civilian fires in residential buildings start with thermal burns and smoke inhalation. So if the search and rescue dogs are present or nearby, many more could have been helped a little easier. And so there were also in another incident with just talking about recreational activities from the years of 2003 to 2006, there were 522 deaths, 4,860 injured people. However, of those people, 2,855 people were rescued. So, and the recreational activities included people from being in mountain areas or around bodies of water, on rivers and lakes, so maybe they were boating or swimming, and but that number of people who were rescued could have been much higher if there were search and rescue dogs. So because they would have been able to help find people and get people to them much quicker. So but again, all of the efforts and the training that people have, and everyone who is part of a search and rescue team, all of the people, it's their best interest to help people and to rescue them and get them to be in a safe situation. So all members and dogs are certified by the international standards. So just another example to drive it home to is that it took 15 minutes to find a missing hunter one of the times and recover his body after sheriff departments in the area had looked over a week for the individual with ground teams, helicopters, and bloodhounds and German Shepherd teams. So just if there were dogs involved to start with, this person probably would have been found by the dogs, being able to pick up on his scent, but at least he was found after this time. So, and as we have learned from our Week 2 PowerPoint on the 5 E's, engineering relates to how well a product or environment changes and can protect people. So, since dogs are not physically created by people, engineering can be applied to my topic by training the dogs to effectively perform their job in emergency situations, such as ones where they are needed to find someone trapped in rubble, debris, etc. As engineering helps protect people from hazards, the dogs will help protect people from any further danger occurring to them when the dogs find them, so the people can get away from that danger much quicker. So enforcement requires the individual behavior change through the passage and enforcement of new safety-related laws, and it requires political and public support, as the role of this is to protect all people for their good. So enforcement is applied to search and rescue dogs by having laws made that require dogs to be present in different circumstances, without someone just saying the dogs cannot be there to take part in different kinds of searches. So the purpose of education is to always figure out what the behavior is and what can be done to eliminate that dangerous behavior, to convince people to change the way they're acting for their own protection and to be even greater than it currently is. So education can be applied to search and rescue dogs, as there is a great deal of information for people to learn about them. So people could attend courses that inform them about search and rescue dogs' purposes. There could be different situations people could need these dogs for, and if someone knows of a situation where these dogs would benefit someone who is missing, for instance, this could help people, especially if other ways may not be working as well. But without knowing about these kinds of dogs, people will not be able to be helped if they could really help them, because if they don't know about them, then how are they going to get them to an area? So, and then there are different search and rescue dog organizations that offer courses and trainings too for anyone interested in wanting to take part in it. So economic incentives may be granted by the government or private industry. So economic incentives for search and rescue dogs could be giving organizations who train them grants to train more of them each year if they train a certain number of dogs each year successfully, or people who support the dog teams could be given different kinds of prizes for how much they give to them. So emergency response interventions happen when the first 4 E's I mentioned do not work. And so this really would include like fire response, or ambulances, law enforcement resources, search and rescue dogs really could even be in this one, or really in this one too. So when there is a natural disaster, someone is missing in some kind of way, the dogs can just pick up on these people who are in distress as well. And so sources where you can find more information on this topic include the National Search Dog Alliance website. There's the Amigo Search and Rescue Dogs Organization website and the Western New York Search Dogs website. And there are also the Use of Dogs in Search, Rescue, and Recovery website is from the Journal of Wilderness Medicine, Volume 3 from 1992. And this gives a really good idea of what the dogs can do for people as well. So I also want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch this video, and remembering that a dog is not only man's best friend, but a search and rescue dog is everyone's best friend. So whether you are on a rescue team searching for someone or being rescued by a search and rescue dog, or helping and supporting in other kinds of ways with any kind of rescue effort, everyone's commitment is valued and used, and it all adds up and helps benefit people.